Hi, everybody. How you doing? I'm sure most of you are listening to Sona, and if you're not, welcome, welcome. I have a remarkable man with me this evening. His name is Theo Bierman. Hope I said that right. I think I did. So welcome, Theo.
Hello, finally, we got this right.
We've gotten this right. So yes, tell us. I mean, I think I heard you the first time. I think it was a Facebook post, and it just ticked every single box that I know. Cousins, family, people I know are going through this hectic um, trial of life, especially in their late 30s, early 40s, and
Yeah.
you've been through it. So yeah, you're a life coach. Tell us more. Take it away.
Thank you for the time. I'm glad we finally got to get this right after all the load shedding of the last couple of months. So thank you for this opportunity.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, sure. So yeah, I'm a life coach. I'm an Ironman coach. You mentioned middle age, 30 to 40. I mean, I'm 44 years old now, nearly 45. And yeah, I've been through it. I've been through it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And by the grace of God, I managed to come out on the other side intact, alive, smiling, kicking, fit, vulnerable, visible, authentic, and ready to, help other people that had and are still going through very similar things,
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 years have been just awful on mankind in general.
Mm-hmm.
And, before the whole COVID thing, people already had baggage. Like we didn't need COVID to have issues. We had enough issues already. And now when people that are teetering around middle-aged and not like having that middle-aged flair, that sense of like I've achieved and whatnot, when the advent of COVID comes and people are losing their jobs, they're losing their relationships, they're losing their sense of self-worth, it just amplifies everything, And even for someone as me, like I was, I came out of my darkness long before COVID, and I'll talk about that now. But it was still a challenge on someone who I suppose could be defined as a bit stronger emotionally. So I understand that the onslaught that it had, the toll that had been taken on people's physical and mental and emotional well-being. But I mean, just for everyone's for clarity's perspective. Yeah. So I mean, I'm 44 years old now. I am a recovered drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
That's my foundation, right? Well, it's my foundation in my new life. I went into rehab in January of 13, 14. Yeah, it would have been 14, right? 2014.
Okay,
I think,
so
yeah.
it's
So 9 years.
years.
In fact, on the 31st of January this year, which was 2 weeks ago, it was my 9th, as we call it in the world of recovery, it was my 9th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
9 years. And it's weird, like, happy birthday. And
happy
it's funny,
birthday.
the more years a person gets under their clean belt, like it still feels so fresh for me. It still feels like I can't wait to get to 10 figures, to get to double digits. Like my oldest son, he's just turned 10. And it was such a big mile. In fact, he turned 10 on the 25th of January. So it was such a big milestone for him to finally be double digits. And I can really relate to him in the most weird way, about wanting to get to double digits myself. But I mean, I'm 44. I'm not 10 years old. Although I used to act like a 10-year-old as an adult. Anyway, so I was not to go into, because this is not about childhood. This is not about teenagehood and bad decisions and how you became an addict and whatnot. That's not the point. There are many people out there that are what they are because of undealt with things, and we all self-medicate in our own right. And that's never a good idea. And the output is whatever the output is. In my case, I didn't deal with things well in advance. And I ended up as a drug addict, married, having children, having a career, and the thing is, like, the problem about when you get to middle age, if you haven't dealt with your things in the right way, and not everyone's able to do it, we don't have the tools, we don't know how to do these things. I'm getting away.
I know I'm getting a weird noise as well. I don't know what that is. Sounds like a tap running. Okay,
Sounds like a
yeah, like if someone just turned on the tap somewhere.
Yeah. So, people get to middle age and like, oh, I haven't done this thing. I haven't achieved this thing. And the answer is always far more simple than what it appears to be. I mean, a lot of the men that I work, men in particular. So I'm an Ironman coach. I coach men and women, amateur triathletes. But when it comes to life coaching and personal development, I coach specifically men going through middle-aged men stuff. And all the guys that I work with, what I've noticed is that, whatever the childhood or the early life thing is that caused the self-medication, and it's not just addicts or alcoholics or sex addicts or gamblers. People self-medicate in many different ways, right? The point is it's the behavior that causes the unmanageability. It's all about, the theme is unmanageability. It's not about the thing that you're putting up your nose or your mouth or whatever the case is. It's the unmanageability. And more often than not, what I've noticed is that guys get to middle age and they're like, shit, what am I going to do? I'm a mess. There's no way I can fix this. And
I haven't reached this goal. I haven't bought, or I lost the house and I lost the job and I lost the career and I lost the big career and I've lost everything. Like I find there are so many guys in their late 30s who need to start over.
Absolutely. They have no sense of self-love. They have no sense of self-value. They keep on self-sabotaging. And as a result of those three things, they've got a complete lack of self-confidence. And it's this perpetuating, maddening loop over and over and over. And when you get to 40, because there's this default story you keep on telling yourself that I am this, I am that, I am not this, I am not that, over and over and over. By the time you get to 40, whether it's true or not, you are that thing that you tell yourself that you are. You are. So I've noticed guys are looking for this complicated solution to fix a complicated problem. And because they think, well, my problems are so complicated, my story is so intense and so vast and deep and integrated and interconnected that there's no solution in the world that can fix this. It's too complicated. And that's why guys give up. That's why they easily fall into emasculation. Right? Is that the right word? Emasculation? Yes. At 40, because they just give up and they have no sense of identity. They've got no sense of like, I'm supposed to be a man. I'm supposed to be providing for my wife or my spouse or my partner or myself or my children or my older parents who need help or whatever, because they just think, well, there's no solution. But that's not true. What I've noticed is that simple solutions fix complicated problems. And I want to say that again. Simple solutions fix complicated problems. And I actually draw that parallel from recovery, going into rehab, doing the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, doing various forms of personal development, even Ironman training. People are like, wow, an Ironman, you do all these crazy endurance things. No, we do, because we do it slowly. We do it every single day, one day at a time. It's funny, like in endurance sports, in recovery, we've got lots of little credos and things that we say, but there's one thing that we say more than anything else, and it's just for today, just for today. And if you just do the thing for today, tomorrow, you're setting yourself up for excellence tomorrow. It's exactly the same with training for an Ironman. I can only train today. I can't train tomorrow, right? It's the same thing. So, guys get to 40 years old, and then when you get to 40 and you're not primed to accept this kind of language and this kind of change, the next 10 years is even harder. And what happens after 10 years after 40? You're in your 50s. And then you're baggage and baggage and baggage and baggage and baggage. Oh, that's actually what I wanted to say early on, is that if people don't deal with their stuff during and up until 40, like we get married, we have children, we have jobs, we do well at the jobs, or we don't do well at the jobs, but we have life experiences, and life is full with amazing things and experiences and opportunities. But life will layer itself on top of you, whether you are present or not. And while life is layering its stuff on top of you, you are layering your inability to control your actions and your thoughts and your emotions. So you're completely compromising your ability to have the most amazing life. So I'm just trying to explain what happens to the men that I work with when they get to 40. I've worked with guys just under 40 and a lot of just over 40, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So just how do we fix this thing? What I've noticed a lot is guys keep on telling themselves stories over and over and over and over. And if there was only some way to catch it in advance, and this is like advice I would give to anyone who's kind of going through something similar, is that if you find yourself telling yourself a story and you don't stop.
Give an example.
I am worthless. I haven't achieved that promotion. I
have nothing. I have nothing.
All my Chinas are married and they've got kids, and I don't even have a girlfriend. Right? Or I've got a girlfriend and we just can't get married, or I'm about to get a divorce, or I am divorced, and all those things are based on stories that I've told myself, and we've all have our parts demons in the things that go wrong. I've got my faults and my partner has her faults. This person has his faults and she has her faults and so on. But, it's all about ownership. But the point I'm trying to make is these stories we not grow up with, we adult with, right? Many times when you get to 40, it's not the whole story that defines you. Maybe there was a part of that story that is true. And if you could catch yourself early on in life, like between 30 and 35, I think, I don't know why it's 40. There's this thing that happens at 40, but like within that pre-decade leading up to 40, if you could find a way to catch yourself and say, well, this now seems to be a recurring thing I'm telling myself. Is it true? No. What part is true? That part. Okay, I can fix that. I've got time to fix that. I've got the emotional temperament to fix that. But if I'm not going to identify this as the problem, then this problem becomes perceivably this big. When you're 40, it's actually only this big, but in your mind, it's this big. I can't fix it. It's too complicated. And then your relationships get affected. Your job gets affected. So for me, it all stemmed from self-love. And I noticed that in my recovery, like self-love, that's a tall order for addicts. It's a tall order for, sorry, I've got a bit of a
for anyone.
It's a tall order for anyone. Absolutely.
For anyone. Yeah. And that's the thing, you talk about the story, the default setting is for us immediately to go negative.
Yeah.
We don't go positive. The tape my dad used to call it the tape that plays over and over in your head. Is as soon as there's trouble, we resort to that negative little.
Yeah, too true. It's too true. It's very, very, very sad. It's very.
And I think men are really hard on themselves, and I think men are alone a lot of the time. They don't know how. They don't have the tools to reach out, because if you do things like that, you're considered weak. You're a pansy. You're not, And I think an organization or the outreach that you do is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. Okay, sorry. Get back to.
No, all right. Thank you. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Like, I don't know why men feel like, if I'm not perceived as a manly man, I'm doing manly things, then I'm not a man. Talking to my wife, my wife's friends, other women, what's attractive to a woman is not a man who can, put a nail in a table using his head because he's a manly man. That's a weird example. I don't know why I use that as the analogy. A man who is not afraid to cry in front of his partner or his friends and really lay bare his entire insides of his emotions at the feet of anyone who wants to listen, right? That's a man who's not afraid to share what is going on inside. And that's the thing. We've got this preconceived idea generationally, going back generations and generations and generations and generations, that, the man, he must go out, he must hunt, he must do this, he must do that, which is right. We must provide for our families. I provide for my family. I do whatever it takes. But we mustn't show any emotion. We mustn't talk about how we're feeling. That is a pandemic in itself. If guys aren't talking about their issues and their feelings, then it sits inside and then it goes around like this, and you start feeling a physical ball in your chest. I know it all too well. And that ball turns into an emotional ball of resentment, not towards you, towards others, because you are now pointing at other people and not pointing at yourself. We've quite happy as men specifically, easy to push the blame outwardly, especially if we're in a relationship. So yeah, like guys that are not coping and they're around 40, on 40 or over, like the most important point I think I would want to say to anyone listening is that it's never too late. It's never too late. And I know that sounds like it's so broad and it's so like, I know it's never too late, but like, what does it mean? It's there's layers to it's never too late. And the first layer is, and I actually wrote these down so I don't forget it because I want to make sure it's clear. It's never too late to put up your hand and ask for help. And there it goes back to this whole, but I'm a man and I must provide for my family. And if I'm putting up my hand whilst providing and asking for help, I'm going to be perceived as weak. That's nonsense. Because if you don't put up your hand and you need to put up your hand, right? There's this emotional ball of madness sitting inside that is just going to come out and explode. It explodes in your words. It explodes in your thoughts. It explodes in your behavior. All three of those are connected, So it's never too late to put up your hand. That's the first thing. I suppose that's the first step, really. And I guess it's kind of like the same as, the first step to, coming right, and the thing that you need to come right is admitting you've got a problem, right? That's cool. It's an old school way of saying it, but I prefer like, just put up your hand and ask for help. Just put up your hand, right? Mm-hmm. You have to say like, I've got a problem, but if you feel like you've got an issue, just put up your hand and ask for help. Someone's going to listen. There are people out there that are ready to listen. Number two, once you have put up your hand, right? It is important to have a sounding board, right? A sounding board. Not to go to somebody and say, I've got this thing, I want you to help me fix it. Or I want you to give me the solution. This is not we're not trying to run a business. We're not trying to, it's not a scientific experiment where there's, preconceived, validated data and theories to put into this hypothetical situation. It's your emotional well-being. You need a sounding board, a coach, a mentor to help you navigate through these waters. And a coach, a mentor, a counselor, their job is not to give you the solution, right? So you put your hand up, cool. Now I'm engaging in someone who's willing to help. Mm-hmm. A coach's job is to ask questions, to help you ask probing questions to get you to navigate yourself. I can smell bullshit a mile away. And it's taken me 9 years to optimize my bullshit smelling detector. I just completely made it up. But I'm going to stick with it. And that's the job of a sounding board, is just to help you navigate accordingly. Because a lot of guys want to be better than they were yesterday. They do put their hands up, they go and sit in front of someone, and then nothing but nonsense comes out their mouth. So the important is to have someone on the other side be like, cool, buddy, I hear you, I see that, that's offsides. Consider this, right? Ask a different question to get the person really vulnerably and authentically going through the right processes. So that's the second thing. Mm-hmm. But the third thing, and it's my favorite thing. It's this word called surrender, but I want to unpack it even more, right? So number 3 is surrender, but what does it actually mean? So a lot of what I do, I take from recovery, I take from personal development, I take from Ironman fundamentals, and I take from Christian principles, right? So I'm a very proud Christian. I study the Bible. It's a big part of my life. And I take all 4 of these aspects and I put it together to prove to people and show to people why I think the way I do, how it works in my life, and how it can work for you. I'm not trying to get anyone to be an Ironman. I'm not trying to get anyone to stop taking drugs or stop drinking. I mean, people must do that on their own. They've got to want to do it, right? I'm not going to push personal development, and I'm not trying to get anyone to believe in God if they don't believe in God, right? I believe in God. That's my thing, and that's cool. But these are the things that are my foundation, and I use these foundationally, is that even a word, to quantify the validity of my course and my ability to coach people. Cool. So anyhow, what I'm saying is surrender. So part 3, surrender. People.
Okay, just recap. So it's okay. So it's the simple acknowledgement.
Put up your hand, ask for help. Number 1.
Ask for help.
Number 2.
Yes.
Once you've done that, go find a sounding board. And I'm calling it a sounding board because people don't want to get a coach, or people don't want to have a mentor, because also that's the whole ego thing, you know. But I'm a man, I'm in my 40s, I've done this stuff, and I've got these things, and I'm, you know, whatever these things may be. Ego. Like, leave it at the door, because it's going to destroy you. Your sense of ego is blocking you from moving forward. And I'm speaking from personal experience, right? So I call it a sounding board. You call it what you want: a mentor, a coach, a counselor, a friend, whatever, right? Sounding board is more friendly, I suppose. Okay. Then, once you have put up your hand and you've found your sounding board, be prepared to surrender in the following way. And here it is. Often people who want to change, a middle-aged man who's got to his 40s or 42 or 38, whatever, and nothing's working. You know, he's got no sense of self-love, self-value, self-worth, but he really wants to change. He's got this burning desire, right? This burning desire, which has been more of a burning desire now than it ever has before. And I know this feeling, thinking to myself, like, but I really wanted to change. I really wanted to stop taking drugs. I really wanted to become an Ironman. I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to do that. Why have I not got it right? And this burning desire, like this flame, is so intense, and it's so hot. It's like it's as hot as the sun. And that heat convinces you, like, I'm about to explode. I want it so badly. But the thing doesn't happen. I'm still acting like I did yesterday. Why? Because a burning desire is half the answer of part 3. A burning desire is half the part of surrender. The other part of surrender is buying into the fact that extreme sacrifice needs to happen. And emphasis on the word extreme, right? Not just a little bit of sacrifice there and a little bit of sacrifice there. I'm talking about raw, sheer, hardcore sacrifice, like you have never sacrificed things in your life, right? And if you can't surrender to the fact that without extreme sacrifice, I will never, my burning desire will never equate to success. In my view, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Success
So
can't
say that again. Sorry, interrupted you.
Success doesn't kick in. So the surrender is, if you have a burning desire, you want life things to change, but you aren't willing to make an extreme sacrifice, then this burning desire is going to fizzle out. So basically what I'm trying to say is that extreme sacrifice fulfills the burning desire. This extreme sacrifice gives shape and form to your burning desire. So when these two are together, then you've now surrendered to the fact that, cool, I want it so badly. I see that change. I'm willing to make it happen, right? So in the world of addiction, like that's my foundation. So I had to make a lot of hardcore, very uncomfortable decisions, uncomfortable action actually, to change my life. And I did, and the rest, as I say, is history. But that's my story. Other people's version of extreme sacrifice could be anything. It could be the way you talk to yourself. It could be the way you talk to others. It could be the places you go to. There could be the things that you buy. It could be the things that you eat. It could be the things that you say. It could be the people you hang out with. It could be anything. You've got to go through that analysis yourself. So you've almost got to start at like the end and go back towards the beginning. And maybe having a sounding board helps you work out if this thing I'm prepared to sacrifice, am I putting in the right amount of sacrifice? And that's surrender. And I take that not from Ironman or personal development. I take that directly from the literature of the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, right? Surrender is a massive theme in the world of recovery. It's huge. very much in the beginning, like we surrender to a higher power. We surrender to the fact that our lives have become unmanageable. Surrender, 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 surrender. So I love the word surrender. And it doesn't mean submit. And that's the thing, another thing. So I'm going, blah, 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 blah.
No.
Back to a man who is ridden by ego, whether he's aware of it or not, and doesn't want to come right or doesn't want to put his hand up, right? When you start talking about surrender, they straight away go to like, oh, so I must now roll over and submit. Surrender is not submit. I'm not a little puppy rolling over on my side and putting my paws. I'm using the puppy analogy because I got a new puppy 2 weeks ago. He's under my legs. And, and while a bigger dog is around and, alpha male, it's not that. Surrender is not submitting. Surrender is being honest with the situation. What needs to change? Am I willing to make that change? And that's not a burning desire. That's honesty about the moment. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, a sounding board will help you navigate all these things. And those are the 3 steps. It's a very simple process, And I'm boiling it down to 3 steps to complement my statement about simple solutions fix complicated problems. And yes, you need to expand things and unpack them further. I get it. But, for anyone that is able to help someone else, to say in the first instance, listen, buddy, we've got to go through this 22-step process, which is actually 52 steps once you get into step 23 and blah, 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 blah. It's baby steps. Actually, baby steps is the best phrase I could coin right now,
Day for today.
Yeah, exactly. And for today, yeah.
I know we said we're going to keep it short, and that's why we started early. Do you find the world today, especially with all this feministic, woke nonsense that's spewed from the media, that there's definitely attack on men? Do you think there's definitely that men now more than ever feel so isolated and more like worthless? The fact that, I really believe in the biological difference between man and woman. And I believe that there's a definite need. I think a woman is an asset to a man, just like a man is an asset to a woman. And if you're single, and I think it's important to know what you don't want. And surrendering is part of that process.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very good question, and such an awkward question in this day and age. I actually can't believe that we are now dealing with this. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Back to this sense of identity, or this lack of, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. So when I invite people into my course, I have a prerequisite, right? And this may sound offensive to somebody that is going through identity issues. My heart goes out to you. I'm sorry for your confusion, but I'm prepared to help men. And the prerequisite is this: you must be a man who identifies as a man. Simple. I almost don't have time to entertain this confusion. I think it stems from sheer evil. I think there is something going on right now far beyond our understanding, and I would love to unpack that further in a later podcast or interview with anyone that would care to talk about it. But I just.
No, for sure. We can definitely. You will be back.
Thank you. And I really feel sad for people because, like I said, life is amazing and life is hard and life is complicated, but there are solutions. There really are solutions to these things. But a man's a man and a woman's a woman. And biblically speaking, God created men, God created women. And it's as simple as that. I don't have the answer for anyone that is going through this confusion. I don't know how to deal with it, to be honest.
Jordan Peterson, I don't know if you know him. Yes. If you've seen a lot of his, so he breaks it down, and I saw something today about how men's sort of sexual fascination with something, instead of it remaining psychological, because things are so free and fancy full, and we live in a society with no boundaries and no rules. And there's sort of, look, South Africa is still very conservative. We live in a very, still, thank God, religious, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever you want, society, with guidelines and boundaries. The British and the Americans, especially on the West Coast, oy vey, as they say. Oy vey. And I'm probably going to get issues from YouTube for talking about this, because they support the narrative of the left.
I know. But it's not right. It's not right. I hear you. It's not right that an 8-year-old can make the decision that he or she wants to be a different sex to.
They don't even know what they want for breakfast. They don't even know what they're having for breakfast the next day.
I mean, my son's 8 years old. My youngest son is 8 years old. He's about to turn 9. Like, that's how can they pass this as law? Anyway, that's
a stream for another day.
Yeah, it really is. I feel very sorry for anyone that's going through this. My heart goes out, and but for any man that wants to be better than he was the day before, then there's ways to deal with it. There's ways to get around it. I actually wanted to offer your viewers, if they wanted to read it, I wrote an ebook a while ago. It's called the 10 critical steps before any personal development. And it's an ebook that I wrote based on a self-analysis that I went through for myself to see, like, what were the things that I had to do recurringly every day that ended up being the things that moved the needle in my life. Right? The forms of behavior that move the needle in my life. And this is not coming out of addiction. This is not getting into Ironman and becoming a coach and a life coach. It's in that successful living that I was able to extract this information. And yeah, it's an easily digested book. I mean, we call it an ebook. I mean, it's a Word document that we not digitalize. It can be read in an afternoon. Sorry?
You are on Facebook. No, I just want to say you are on Facebook. Do you have a website?
How can I share it?
So you can send it to me and I'll put it on my group. And if anyone is watching, if you reach out to me. So my email is rebelliousruthie with a y@gmail.com. I'd gladly send it to you. Yeah.
Can I put it in the chat?
I can even put in a link later in the stream. I'll try and remember to do that for sure.
Okay, because I can type it in the chat now, right?
Yeah. Go for it. Sorry, we've got a few. So Matthew Dixon is known as the troll, but he's actually a lot of fun. And the guys, look, Rebellious does talk about all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But I have seen many friends lost to drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And I think, I personally, thank God, I don't have an appetite for that kind of behavior. I just, like, if you feel cuck the next day, why on God's earth would you want to do it again? Like, I even can't drink alcohol. Like, I'm actually having a Lucozade. It's not a Chardonnay or anything. Excuse me, I'm suffering with a bit of fatigue at the moment. But just to sort of, I just don't understand why people would do that to themselves. Like, yes, back in the 90s, we all tried our thing. Like, you feel flipping horrendous. Why would you? I mean, look, no judgment on you. It's obviously.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So it's the spin-off, or it's the wrong words. So you mentioned, like, why would anyone want to do it again after doing it and feeling awful the next day or whatever? And it doesn't matter how bad you feel the next day. The thing is, when you are in active using, and yes, there's active using in drugs, there's active using in alcohol, there's active using in porn, there's active using in going out and looking for cuck at a bar every time you want to go out with your chinas. There's active using in whatever, right? When you're doing that, it's called self-medicating. So whether it's the thing that you're doing to yourself is irrespective. Okay, drugs is illegal, and you'll lose your teeth, and you'll lose your life, and it's horrible, right? It's the worst example. But the point is, it's not actually about that. It's about the self-medication. And we are self-medicating because we are hurting. And we are hurting because we've got baggage that we have not dealt with. It may be new baggage, it may be old baggage, it may be both. That is why people self-medicate. And that is why it doesn't matter how horrible you feel the next day after the drink or the drug or the action, you will always go back to it because the pain of your reality and your life is so intense that you want to numb it. So you go back to the thing that you know works, even though it's temporary. You know, people often talk about, yeah, but what about functioning alcoholics and functioning addicts? Like that is horse shit. There's no such thing as a functioning alcoholic addict. You may be fooling yourself in the world in the beginning, but you are just writing your own check. You know, you're sealing your own fate, and eventually it catches up to you. There's no such thing as functioning. You're a functioning addict. That's what you are. You're not a functioning. Well, you're a functioning failure or functioning. Writing your life off rather than getting your day job done and appearing to, get your chores done and your kids, your wife, and so on. It's not.
Listen, and I've met and they've actually called themselves a functioning whatever. I'm not going to elaborate too much on it, but it's remarkable actually how much this person does get done. I'll be honest.
Yeah, but
it's kind of remarkable when I think, okay, but at 10 o'clock in the morning, they've got to have a drink,
Well, exactly.
Like,
I actually had this conversation with someone today, funny enough, and they said, well, am I functioning whatever? And I said, look, I can't label you an addict, an alcoholic, a dependent this. All I can say to you is that if this was your thing and I had to take it away from you, what would you go through to get it back? And that action of getting it back into your life, how would it present itself from an unmanageability point of view, and who would it hurt? Who are the people attached to this thing, this action of you getting it back? And you can honestly say to me, no, I'm fine, I don't need it back, and that's cool, then you haven't got a problem. But if this is the thing that you do every day, and you say you haven't got a problem, I take it away from you, and you go through
withdrawal,
whatever the action is to get it back,
is
for you a problem, right? But I'm not here to judge people. I'm not here to label people. I'm just here to point out behavior and what things could possibly mean. You know what I mean? And I say that with love and openness because I know what it's like on the other side. And like there really there's help out there to anyone who wants to put their hand up, Okay. So yeah, I mean that ebook, I think people would love it, and please read it. I also wanted to just another example. I don't know. Have we got time? It's now.
You're the one who said you haven't got time. This is what
Okay, sorry. There is in the work that I do, right? Not so much the Ironman coaching because Ironman coaching is something different, right? And it's something amazing. And if anyone wants to do a triathlon, I strongly suggest that you dip your toes into it because it will change your life. But for men that are struggling with a sense of identity crisis and a sense of self-worth and all those things those nasty little words that eat you alive around about middle age, there's one of these tools that I just wanted to explain to people, like when it comes to personal development. The answer is very simple. The tools are very simple because when we first started talking this evening, we spoke about either you mentioned it or I mentioned it, like men don't have tools. Not even men, people don't have tools. We don't teach these kind of tools to our children in schools. No wonder so many of us land up as a cataclysmic mess later on in life. But one of these tools, and if anyone listening has dabbled in the world of personal development, you'll know this tool quite well. But for me, because I've got the whole Ironman thing and the very solid Christian principles thing and a recovery thing and personal development thing, I've taken this particular tool and I've made it my own, particularly from a Christian point of view. So I would just like to explain in one instance what I would do for someone that if we were working together, this is one of the things we would do. So the tool is called 7 Levels Deep, right? It's a very well-known tool. if you've done Tony Robbins kind of work, or anyone in this kind of world, Brendan Burchard, Dean Graziosi, all of them, like it's old. Even Tim Rohn and all the guys that these people I've mentioned, studied through. Did I say Tim Rohn? I mean Jim Rohn. I think that's his name. But anyway, it's an old tool, right? It's called 7 Levels Deep, and this is how it works, right? So here's a man, and he's at his middle-aged mark, and he feels like he is not a success. And our versions of success are very different, right? What I think is successful, you may think is not is different. So we've got to make it our own. So 7 levels deep works like this. We asked the guy one question: what does it mean? What is important to you about being successful? Not why. What is important about being successful? What is that thing, right? And an answer is made or given, right? And it's not just like some airy-fairy answer. You've got to think about it properly. And then for the rest of the 6 steps, we go through a series of recurring questions. So we've now gone from what to why. So what is important to you about being successful? Here's the answer. The next question is, okay, why? Whatever that answer is, why is that answer what it is? Cool. And then more deep inner work. And your coach, who's a sounding board, is also, a bullshit detector, is going to ask you some questions around, is it really a thing? And you get to an answer. And then again, you ask why that answer. And you do that 7 times, right? 7 is a very magical number. Like if you go through the Bible, it's very, 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 very significant in many, many ways. And we don't have time to go into that right now. But like from the beginning, from a Christian point of view, God created the world in 7 days. In fact, he created the world in 6 days. On the 7th day, he rested. When we get to the 7th answer in 7 levels deep, we stop. Because something always happens at number 7, right? God spoke creation into existence with his words. And that is what a middle-aged man does in the reverse. He gets to middle age because he's speaking negative into his life over and over. The power of the spoken word is so huge. And I know this my whole life that I'm worthless, right?
So if I can just quickly interject there for 2 seconds.
Please.
What you speak, your ears take in and your mind cannot understand that. Like when you say, oh, I'm such a bloody moron, or I'm such an idiot. Your mind doesn't understand that you're actually not being serious, that you're sort of you're joking and you're being sort of, harsh on yourself, but you're actually not being, but your brain believes what you say. Your words have power. Your words have such power. And I mean, you talk about the Bible. In our Bible, they say one of the reasons the Jews don't have their temple today is because of evil speech. And God, and this one of our great rabbi sages who wrote a book, I'll talk about another time, but you have your teeth and your lips to guard your tongue. You have 2 gates. Watch them. Watch them.
Totally.
Watch them.
Totally. The power of speech is a God-given gift. So we got to use it in the right way. So that's why I draw a parallel between 7 levels deep and creativity, the beginning of time. If you are somebody who believes what I believe, you don't have to, right? But that's the parallel I draw. Okay, so that's the first point behind this. And on the 7th day, God rested, and he was like, "This is good. This is lekker. I dig this. Cool. This is now. And here's look what I created for you, mankind. And now go." But unfortunately, as we went, we spoke badly to ourselves, and 40 years later, we've got problems. Anyway, so this tool helps us to re-identify our lost sense of identity. In fact, in my course, it's in pillar 2. It's about self-value. This tool, this particular exercise, is nested specifically in a self-value module because it talks about identity. And this 7-step process helps us extrapolate the real answer. And when you get to number 7, step 7, the real answer comes out. And that's actually the answer to the first question. And it works every single time. Like from a I don't want to bang on about the Bible. I don't want to bang on about Christianity because I know it also pushes people away. And it's not my job to convince anyone to go and, start worshiping God and Jesus. If you don't, I understand that. I respect that. I do all the time. It is my life, and it has kept me alive, and it continues to keep me alive, and I'll do it until my last breath, right? But there is so much personal development in the Bible. There's so much personal development in so many aspects of life, and it's free, and it's right there in front of you. I mean, I wrote down when I do this particular exercise with men that I work with, right, I always end on this particular verse. It's from Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope," right? That is firmly nested in the end of this particular exercise to help this man after he gets to the 7th step and he's like, oh, this is the answer. God wants us to succeed. He's got plans for us. We're not supposed to be, in this maddening loop of self-hatred. We're not supposed to be there, right? So that's not going to come out in my ebook. I promise you guys, if anyone had a concern about that. But I just wanted to, it was impressed upon me now from above, just to mention that. And I have this all-encompassing offer or ability to help somebody go through stuff. And if they are willing to listen and learn, there are so many amazing tools and simple ways of being and listening and learning and opening up just to be better than you were the day before, So yeah, I'm all about the Iron Man. I'm all about personal development. I'm all about recovery, and I'm all about Jesus. So yeah, that's an all-round approach to.
I've put the link in, and hopefully people can click on it. And it's in the links below, in the comments. So yeah, and if people want to get hold of me, email me, rebelliousruthie with a y@gmail.com, and I'll put them in touch with you. But yeah, there are a lot of men and a lot of people who need this, who need the help. Definitely. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time. You got to go and help someone right now. So merci beaucoup. You're welcome. Just kick off, and I'm gonna hang on for 10 more minutes. But thank you so much. God bless.
And to you too. Thank you for your time, and thanks for everyone who was listening.
Cool. Awesome.
Have a good evening. Okay, everyone.
Cheers.
Thanks. Hey, bye.